Well, I hold, since being a Christian, since a teenager, I hold the Word of God up as the final say. I follow it. I try to be obedient, not all the time, but I look to His Word as having the final say in my life. It's funny, in my family, it wasn't too evident. My parents never really talked about it. My background, I'm kind of like a mongrel, mixed. In a little bit of Indian, a little bit of Negro, a lot of Portuguese in there. And we never really discussed that much. Although, occasionally from relatives, I'd hear stories of discrimination. But navigating it for me, I would say at an early age I was discriminated against. Probably, I'm going to say around 8 years old. In that time, I remember being at an amusement park with my cousin, my cousin was very light-skinned, but we were standing waiting to get on the kiddie roller coaster, and we were excited because we were the first ones in line. We were going to get in the front seat, front cart. And then this guy comes and steps in front of us and says, "Get out of the way, Blackie."
Oh.
And that was the first time I'd ever encountered that. And no one came to our aid. It was just my cousin and I. And so the guy got on first with his daughter. And I think that really, and I say that because I remember it. And I think that's where it started, that I realized there was a problem. And you internalize it. I mean, if I could have been older, I probably would have hit the guy, but I was a little kid and didn't know what to do. And so you internalize it, and I think you get angry. And but basically, I grew up in a middle-class neighborhood. Never saw any racism there that I was aware of. However, while a teenager during the late 60s, early maybe 1970, in our area we had the race riots in New Bedford. The Black Panthers were there. Definitely a lot of tension in the air, and people being shot at sometimes, and there were fights. But I was too young to really be involved in any of that. But I remember thinking, gee, my color, I said, I don't fit in the white aspect, and neither do I fit in the black aspect. So I didn't know. I said either side could come after me. But fortunately, I went through that time fine. But in high school, I never had a problem. But there was, I would say there was an inner anger at being considered, back then you would be called colored, maybe a minority today or whatever. But I found a lot of that dissipated when I met Christ. I met Christ as a senior in high school, I believe, either junior, senior year. And that born-again experience, or that conversion of having a new heart, was beautiful. And a lot of things that were in my life seemed to disappear because I was a new creature. However, as we all know, as you grow older, God brings you back and deals with certain things in your life. But at that time, a lot of that anger went away, and just having fellowship with others and seeing that God, He just kind of took a lot of that away. In fact, one of my mentors back then was a Christian man who, he and his wife were my mentors, and we went to the Church of the Nazarene, Portuguese Church of the Nazarene in Bedford, and he was white. And he told me, he said, my wife accepted the Lord first, but he said, when I ever came home and saw this Cape Verdean man in my living room, he said, I almost hit the ceiling. But then he got saved, and you would never know it from the light in his eyes. So that change me. And but I mean, I was still aware of racism, but I kind of just prayed about it and gave it over to the Lord. I never really experienced anything, outright other than that. I mean, I'd read things in the media and feel bad for people and, why. But I knew that in time, when the Lord comes back, that all be dealt with justice. And so, I'm thankful for that conversion, because I think without the conversion, I would have been a very angry young man. And so I thank God for that. Sometimes I'm an easygoing person, but certain things really set me off, and I tend to be judgmental, and I find out later that there was no reason. The person didn't mean that, or was coming from a totally different viewpoint, and I took it totally wrong. And so now I kind of step back. Sometimes I know I'm talkative right now, but sometimes I'm very quiet, because I like to consider and see different viewpoints before making a value judgment or just speaking rashly. Sometimes I look at people who can just speak and know exactly, but I tend to like to sit back and take different things in, be a different size before I make a judgment. So that's how I'd like to be a little different, live a little different.